Hey, it's Ira, and we're here with Carrie from Frog Eyes. Thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So, I just noticed you're here with Melanie, who's of course in the band, and
Yeah, she's over there.
and the little guy, or is it a little girl?
Little guy.
Little guy.
Yeah.
Is being a rock and roll dad tough? Well, it's a rock and roll family, really.
Here's the thing: is when I'm on stage, I'm rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
And when I put down the guitar, I'm a dad again.
Yeah.
So the two don't actually meet in any way.
Right.
And I'm trying really hard to make sure that stays like that, because the last thing I want to be doing is plinking a banjo, singing Baby Beluga, you know?
Yeah.
So, so being a rock and roll, I don't know. I mean, I'm a dad, and then we go play. Very different things, yeah.
It's great, though, I guess, and as your child grows up, that they'll be able to see this part of the country and the whole country on the road. That'll be interesting.
He's a little road dog. We went down the West Coast with him and back.
Yeah.
And then we've driven from Victoria all the way out here, and it's awesome. It's great.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's less than enthused to be in his car seat, but we get to spend all this time with him. He sees human beings as allies, not as antagonists, because everyone is always so nice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it's wonderful. I encourage people to not sweat it. If you have a child, you don't have to abandon your love of playing music, vice versa.
Your band has a fairly distinct sound, and we were talking a bit off camera about it being loud, but you don't think that does it justice. It's not really that it's loud, it's just that there's a lot of stuff going on, right?
That's right. That's exactly it, yeah. It's not volume, it's the arrangements are loud, right?
Hey, we had to move because of sound check, but that's okay, because we're still here with Carrie. And we were talking about your sound, because it's not a loud sound, it's just a ton of instruments in the ensemble.
Yeah.
And
but I
on
was
the
just
record.
trying to say also that that's changing a bit.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, I think we would have tried to fit 20, 25 ideas in a 2-minute song. Now we're working with the same amount of ideas, but maybe in a 5 or 6 minute song, and in the extreme examples, maybe an 8-minute song. So it's the same amount of ideas, but you just stretch it out.
Right.
Because I think our instruments sound better. So it's actually all right to just hear a floor tom for a few bars if it sounds good. But when we started, man, everything sounded like junk. So, the only way it would work is if everything was going at the same time and masked in various effects and whatnot.
But that's a big thing about your music too, right? Is the fuzz and just the effects and all the production that must go into putting one of your records together. Never mind the live performance, which would be incredible to pull off.
But it's not, though. It's actually is just the sound of like a crappy old speaker being abused.
Nice.
It's very simple, and most of the amps that I love the most just have one knob. Right. And you plug in. It's like you want to keep. There's a beauty to simplicity. So.
How do you decide what's a solo record for yourself and what a Frog Eyes record is? Because I would imagine that you write material and then you probably decide what you're going to do with the band and what you're going to take on as a solo project.
It's pretty simple. If I'm playing my guitar, and I'm just playing and I feel like standing up, kind of boogieing around, then this is just something that could be presented to Frog Eyes. But if I'm feeling a little more cerebral, I guess, I like to actually compose when I'm making my own records. Using the computer like a tape machine. Well, this will come here and come out here, because you're playing all the parts yourself. So I don't know music. I can't write music and give it to someone, so I have to do it all myself. If I want to hear what I'm kind of hearing. So with my own music, it's much more premeditated and much more thought out. And with Frog Eyes, it's as simple as does it get me out of my chair?
Right.
You know, am I feeling something right now?
Huh.
And I think that speaks to, you know, the two sides, many of us.
Right.
But the better side is the one that gets me out of my chair.
It gets you to rock.
I think, as a general rule, our critical impulses are our weakest side.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. The passionate side is the better side, for me at least.
Paul's Tomb, A Triumph, is your 5th record, I think. If my counting is correct.
Proper Frog Eyes record.
5th.
Yes.
And it's the first on Dead Oceans.
Yeah.
What's that experience been like? Because they're a fairly large American indie label, and you're a band from Vancouver.
Victoria,
sorry.
Yeah,
I just
right.
swore in your West Coast language there.
I don't care.
I cursed.
But if a band was from Hamilton,
yes,
and some Vancouver yuppie
said
they're from Toronto, they'd be kind of pissed off, right?
So I apologize profusely.
Okay. Yeah.
A West Coast band
That's
being
right.
on a West Coast Canadian band being on a fairly substantial American indie label. What's that been like for you guys? Or does it even matter who puts out your records?
It almost doesn't matter, you know? It's just like, how good is the record, and are people responding to it? I don't know, it's really hard to gauge. Like, that's why, if it was easier to gauge, then people would have a better idea of what to do.
Right.
The music industry is really weird right now. No one really knows how to sell records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, except to go on tour.
Right.
That seems to be the only, the one thing that a band should do, you know? So there's all kinds of debates, like, should a band release their own records? Is it better to be on a major label?
Right.
Is it better to be on, an indie like Dead Oceans, or, secretly Canadian, because they're part of that family?
Right.
I think it's probably best where we are for us, because there's all kinds of administrative stuff that I would just
Rather
hit delete.
Yeah.
You know, we wouldn't be talking right now
Right.
if Frog Eyes put out its own record, because
I would imagine too
it
gives you some creative freedom not to have to worry about the administration and the tour routing and all of that stuff, for you to just make music and go on tour and make music in different cities and stuff. I mean,
and they're very proud of that.
Yeah.
You know, that's the indie. That's what indie labels say they should do, and some of them actually do that. Some don't. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the term indie even means, but maybe in its most Pollyanna, it means that they care about their artists more than what's selling.
Right.
Yeah.